right, with this West 2 Facebook Live update, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi. Boy, we've got a lot of ground to cover here tonight. I just got some new information on Invest94, and chances are growing on that to become our next tropical depression. So we'll take you there. Hurricane hunters, by the way, flew into this one earlier today, and they were able to sample the environment out ahead of this storm system. I think that's going to help us out tremendously once we start getting the evening computer model spaghetti plots in later on tonight. So we'll have those for you tonight on West 2 News at 10 and again at 11 on West 2 News. Let's take a look now at the setup here so you can see two features, one near Puerto Rico, one northeast of the Leeward Islands, and then Gabrielle closing in on the Azores. Very rare to have a hurricane warning for the Azores, but that's what we have now, as this is expected to weaken to a Cat 1 hurricane before potentially making a landfall also in Portugal and or Spain down the road. Closer to home, of course, we keep an eye on Humberto. This is going to make it run very close to Bermuda late in the weekend and or early next week. While that's going on, 94 will continue to develop, and everybody's been talking about the Fujiwara effect. And that's when two storms pivot off of each other and sometimes create some erratic motions that sometimes our computer models just don't comprehend. So it's going to be interesting to see if that does indeed pan on out. There's your tropical steering. There's your front. We are hoping that front, although not as strong as it looked earlier in the week, will be just enough, however, to turn these two features out to sea. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of the computer model tracks and trends on this. Sue Hines, Elizabeth Haunt, Joseph Yaptango, Harry Vanderkamp, all in the house. Good to have you fine young folks in there. You can see Humberto and the spaghetti plots behaving nicely, well within that NHC forecast 5-day cone there, which is some good news. Let's get in a little bit more personal, closer here. Ginger Kamen, Lynn Comstack, good to have you there. There's Humberto, upgraded this afternoon at 5 o'clock from nothing past the depression right to a tropical storm. Not unusual. Waters are warm here, and the wind shear, it's still out of the southwest a little bit, but just low enough now that we're starting to see some better organization. Who else is in the house? Janice Curry, Patty Thom, Francis Lloyd Cano, Stephen Luciano. Crazy Two Systems. Yep, got a couple more graphics on that. Don't go anywhere. We'll spend a lot of time on that. Then I'm going to take your questions because there's a ton of them coming into me via text, email, social media, and that's fine. That's what we do here. Humberto, through Monday, I think by Monday afternoon this is going to be a major hurricane. I think the conditions look good for this to really strengthen. The waters are warm here in this corridor, and I think that this will likely be stronger than what's being advertised right now, unless there's some kind of kooky Invest94 turn to the right that could disrupt the circulation, but I don't think that's going to happen. Minerva, yep, we're in good shape. Good to have you there. There's a look now at Bermuda. Bermuda missed Gabrielle, but they may not be as fortunate this time around with Humberto. So we're going to watch that again very, very carefully. All right, let's shift gears. This is going to be the one now that we want to watch. When you look at what's going on right now, all right, it's moving west. When you look at the amount of thunderstorms that are currently in the vicinity of this wave, it is what we like to do is what we call nowcast. Look at the GFS, look at the Euro, look at all the models and see how they are performing with regards to what's currently going on. The European has more convection, more thunderstorms. So I like that. Although this computer model is east of where the actual center, though, is right now. So we're waiting on that turn to the northwest or the west-northwest beginning tonight. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, this was just updated. Chances have now risen to 40% that we could have a TD over the next 48 hours. I think that it's likely going to happen over the weekend. I think, and the key for me is, what is the interaction going to be like with Hispaniola? If it goes over the highest terrain, is there anything still left to kind of develop a circulation? That's the unknown. There's some pretty tall mountains there, folks, so we'll have to wait and see. Bottom line is, if it skirts the North Shore, as being advertised right here, then it is likely to develop. If it goes more towards the west of that line, then I think we would not see a significant development. And the GFS could be right. I'm going to show you those long-range models here in just a second. I'm not going on any cruise this week, Meredith. Love that. Lane. Oh, Elizabeth, hope you feel better, girl. She's got COVID. There's San Juan. Boy, I'll tell you, a lot of rain right now for our friends down there in Puerto Rico, and that's headed over towards the Dominican Republic and Haiti as we go through the next 24 hours. So here's, for me, something that's pretty important to keep an eye on. You can see Gabrielle getting out of that corridor there of nice tropical cyclone heat potential. But look, we're jacked up here when you're in the northeastern Caribbean, and there's Humberto also going to be touching in on some of that deep, rich, warm tropical moisture that these storms like to feed off of. Think of this as unleaded supremium gasoline right there in the red and the yellow. When developing systems move over this, the waters aren't just warm at the surface. They're down 300 meters, 1,000 feet. It's still warm. And tropical systems just love to feed off of this warm energy source. Provided there's no shear, then that's what's going to happen. All right, let's take a look at these models now. Remember, we got a new update here between 9 and 10 tonight, so I'll have that for you on the CW18. But look at the models. The HMON, interestingly enough, earlier in the day, was weakening this thing. Now it's saying, you know what? We think this thing is going to survive. And the HMON wants to go pretty close to Myrtle Beach by the time we get to Wednesday. So the other thing is a lot of the tracks are going right over some of the tallest mountains there in the Dominican Republic. So it's kind of hard for a system to develop if it gets ripped apart. So we'll have to watch the trends on that going forward. So there's the Canadian, the H-Wharf, you got the UK, all taking this just east of Nassau in the Bahamas as we get into Monday and Tuesday. So something to think about. Okay, very interesting trip today from the hurricane hunters. Not into the storm, but they basically sampled the entire environment from Miami through the Bahamas and just north of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. That's important. We're going to take all that data and we're going to feed it into all of those tropical models tonight. And it's going to be interesting to see if there's any shift in the models or if the intensity is different, whether it's stronger and or weaker. Either way. So this is an important trip for the hurricane hunters to take today. A lot of times we think, oh, hurricane hunters have to go into the storm to provide valuable information. That's not true. It's also important to sample the data before a storm develops and in the direction it may head. And that's clearly what this mission was about today. So just remember that going forward. Okay, so for me, if this does develop, this is 94 I'm referring to, and to a certain extent even Humberto, look at the wave action. You have two storms that extend from the Bahamas to Bermuda. There is some significant wave action going out in all different directions. So that's going to impact Florida all the way up towards southeast Canada. So that's some of the things we're going to have to watch. So if you're asking, Tony, when does it pick up? It starts picking up Sunday evening, Monday, and Tuesday for the east coast of Central Florida. Now, I know the surfers love it, but even they will have to be careful because I think that, it's going to be pretty rough there. G-Teb, Helene Rish, Terry Ann Lottie, good to have you guys. The Euro has not one, not two, but a third feature there that kind of weakens behind both of those first two storms. Now, I want to run through the Euro versus the GFS. Maria, you're welcome. Debbie, good to have you. There's a look at the incredible agreement, even in the size, on Humberto between the GFS and the Euro. Just amazing. Going west of Bermuda. And then behind it, the Euro develops our next named storm, Imelda, on the heels of Humberto. So again, a lot to watch here. There's your little Fujiwara effect. The GFS showing how Humberto sucks in 43, whereas the Euro says, not so fast. We're going to have two separate storms, and we may do some wacky stuff as they're pinwheeling around each other. So a lot going on. This is going to be, I think, when it's all said and done, if Invest94 does develop a very, very interesting case study for future meteorologists and meteorologists that have been doing it for a long time. So we'll wait and see. Look at the dry air through Atlanta, through Tallahassee on the Euro. Stops, puts on the brake from Cape Canaveral right to Myrtle Beach. And that is potentially the access zone there that's going to keep both of these systems just to the east of Florida. At least we hope so. But you can see there's the Euro. Two distinct and separate features. The Euro does something a little weird there at the end. See how that second storm kind of gets pulled to the west? I don't know if you remember Sandy. There was a big high to the north. This looks a lot like that, trying to pull the system back towards the Carolina coast. But there is another cold front that will move into the picture here that could keep that one out to sea. Now, wind-wise, this kind of is a nice way to show the wind fields and how it may relate to the storms and the wave action. So there's the Euro. Look at those two donut holes. So at 4 p.m. on Monday, the Euro is advertising one major hurricane, tropical storm, maybe Cat 1 hurricane, and then it really blossoms as we get you to Tuesday night and Wednesday. We can have two pretty significant hurricanes there. So one goes around Bermuda, and then the other one may curl right at Bermuda, the second one, Imelda, future Imelda. So that's the Euro. Let me show you the GFS solution here. It's a little different, as we've been saying. Check this out. So there's your front coming in. Gets to Orlando and Myrtle Beach. Kind of stops right there. And then you can see, look at how, with the new run, there are still two separate features on the GFS, not the one. So that's a new update right there. That does eventually get pulled into the system. And then look at that dry air trying to push back into the south. And while that's going on, look at south of Cuba. GFS is hinting at maybe something else trying to come up over what I believe is the warmest water right now in all the Atlantic Basin. So you need to watch that carefully there. Again, here's the tropical cyclone heat potential graphic one more time. I'm going to have to add Humberto and soon to be Imelda. See south of Cuba right there? The greatest potential. And it's not even been tapped into so far in this 2025 hurricane season. So just so you know that. All right. Let me take a couple questions from you guys. Lewis, L94, Dominican Republic. So for you, I'm concerned about the potential for some significant rain and flash flooding. Let me go back to this. You know, one thing I didn't put in here. Let me see if I can add that. Hold on one second. GFS rainfall. Boom. Rainfall. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let me do this. Hang on one second. Okay, hang out, folks. Alright, workspaces. Let's do this. Corporate. Alright, give me 1 second. Hang out. I'm going to throw in 1 or 2 graphics here for you guys. Alrighty. Oh yeah, let's do this. I should have done this. Let's do this. Give me a second. I'm dropping in a couple new graphics here. Give me a second, folks. And then the Euro rainfall. And then let's do the GFS. Okay, yeah, let's try this. All right, let's do this. All right, so this is our graph model. Tiff is in the house. Sorry about that, gang. All right, so here's the deal. Here's what we got. So notice our graph model, what it does. There's the system on the north side of Hispaniola. That's Friday. And then trying to come together there. See that little spin? Come Friday evening across the southern Bahamas. Now, graph rainfall. Lakeland. I'm not worried about Lakeland right now. I think Lakeland's going to be okay. But there's a look at the Dominican Republic. See that big shade of red there? Let me do this. Hang on a second. Oh, that's what I should have done. Okay. 1 second here. Hold tight, hold tight. Let's do this. All right. For my friends down there in the Dominican Republic, let's do this. All right. Boom. Hit save. And then, so there's that. And then from there, let's go back up to here. And you can see, there's Florida. Not that in Florida's graph model doesn't really like Florida. All right, so there's, let's save this. And let's do this one. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm doing this on the fly for some folks down there watching this from the Dominican Republic. There we go. Saved. All right, you're going to like this. I think you're going to like this. Thanks for your patience. Do you want to save that? Yeah, goodbye. All right, so here you go. So there's the Dominican Republic. See that stripe of red there? That's 5 to 8 or 8 to 12 inches of rain. It looks like it's on the right over the highest mountaintops. And Puerto Rico getting hit pretty good too. Then as it treks more to the north, you don't really see a whole lot. This looks more like sea breeze stuff out ahead of the storm system there as we head through the upcoming weekend. Let's do this. Here's the euro. Let me show you what the euro is doing. Euro's got yellow to orange, so 3 to 5, 4 to 6. And then the concern down the road with the euro is that there could be significant rainfall through the Piedmont, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Virginia. So that could be a scenario where it could lead to some flooding. So we'll watch that. Again, this is provided everything pans out based upon what we're seeing right now. Now the GFS has got red, 8 to 12 inches of rain in the eastern section there, the Dominican Republic. But it doesn't have as much rain up through the Mid-Atlantic. It's got rain, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as prolific as what the European computer model was showing just a couple seconds ago when I had that there for you. Daddy loves Puerto Rico. I guess he loves those hurricanes. Yeah, sure he does. New name. No. Imelda. So there we go. All right. Tiff, thank you. Is anybody down there in Puerto Rico right now? I'm going to go back to that radar if anybody's in here watching from Puerto Rico. Wendy Morgan, gotcha. Appreciate you popping in and saying hi. Let's go back to the radar here, shall we? Let's do this. I think we could show Puerto Rico here for folks. Let's do this. Kerry, appreciate you. Thanks for the nice words. So there's Puerto Rico. I mean, that's a lot of rain. You can see the little spin there. And the question for me is, how does this move? Does it move this way over the highest terrain, or does it somehow scoot more towards the west, northwest? If this scenario pans out, then I become a bit more concerned for something a little bit stronger coming through the Bahamas. If this one pans out, it goes over the highest terrain, and does it get ripped apart? That's on the table for me. Elba, you're getting a lot of rain where you are right now. Are you on the north side near San Juan or on the south side, just out of curiosity? And do you have your power? Not that you get a lot of wind, but you get a lot of squalls coming through from your south and east, by the way. Thank you, Mish, Wendy Morgan. The Gulf next week, the Gulf looks okay. There may be a feature that does something like this. If the GFS is right, there may be something that does something like this before the next cold front comes. That's not this weekend. That would be around the 5th and 6th of October. So just something to think about. Giselle, yeah, we're going to miss her. I agree with you on that. Elizabeth, hot northwest. Elba, no power. Man, we got to do something about the power grid down there for you guys. It seems like if you sneeze, the power goes out down there. Unfortunately, gotta get that taken care of. All right, so here's the weekend setup, and here's the deal. So we've got this front that begins to kind of stall out, but does it have enough push that goal line stance to keep everything off towards the east, and that's what we're going to be watching here as we head through Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. You all still okay? Your daughter's wedding is in St. Simon's on October the 4th. 4th would be okay up that way. But, if it speeds up, it might not be, so keep checking back in. Daryl, good to have you. Jane Garrison is in the house. Jane, good to have you right there. Any more questions? Keep them coming. Love it. Kathy, we got you, girl. Keep checking back in. Janice Curry Hepburn, appreciate you popping in. Good group in here. I need it's a new phone. Nikki Momo, good to have you there. All right, a quick little. I want to do the wave action here. One more time. So there it is. A couple surfers asking about the waves. So there's Sunday night, Monday. Notice how the waves really start picking up with these features. Not just Humberto, but potential Imelda. So there you go. So there it is. Looking at just offshore, 9 to 14 foot waves, near shore breakers. You're looking at 6 to 9 maybe if this verifies. Again, that's the key. If this verifies. Cruises leaving Miami on Sunday. Great question. Right now, everything is predicated on how Invest94 develops. If 94 can develop, that might be a tall order. Now, I will say this, that Miami is protected by a lot of those Bahamian Isles, those islands. So if that is planning on going south and east through the Bahamas, probably going to be canceled. But if it's a Western Caribbean cruise, I think you might be okay. So there you go. Christine, good question. So the bottom line is we just got to keep an eye and a tab on things here just to see how this plays out. Here's the Euro with the winds through the Bahamas. There's Friday. There's Saturday. There's your development. Look at that wind there. Tropical storm force winds in the morning, developing, expanding throughout the afternoon and evening there through the northern and central Bahamian Islands right there for that cruise that's going on in Miami. So, very warm waters, Daryl. In fact, let me show you this graphic one more time. We always talk about this. The tropical cyclone heat potential graphic. That's a fancy terminology for warm water, and not just at the surface. 300 meters deep, 900 to 1,000 feet deep of warm water. Anytime you have that deep a bed of warm water and you have a tropical system coming over it, you have the potential for some significant intensification, as long as there's no wind shear. Heading to Nassau, same thing there, Christine. Nassau's going to have to watch it this weekend as well. Gabrielle will be affecting Portugal. That's a great question. So it is not very often that there is a hurricane warning for the Azores. We have that, as they're expecting 75-mile-an-hour winds. Once it gets to Portugal and or Spain, the winds will probably be in the 50 to 60-mile-an-hour range with the potential for some flooding. So if you're headed that way, you definitely want to keep an eye on that. Southeastern. How will the storms approaching the southeast starting to affect us? So Kim, that is a cold front. That is a cold front that is going to hopefully be the impetus to keep these two features to the east of Florida. May not be east of South Carolina with 94 if it can develop, but it's something we're going to be watching. Christine March, I agree. Gisela, 94 is not locked in yet on that, and we're hoping that is going to be the case. So just keep checking back just to make sure over the next 2 to 3 days, okay? Got to put my readers on while watching it now. I'm all blurry. She's all blurry. You guys are funny. Love that. Will we see Mike? I don't think we'll see a 4 because sometimes when a front comes in like that, it creates a lot of wind shear. Now, if the front were to just fall apart, that might still be on the table. So we'll watch that. Leroy, just be ready is 100% correct. That is 100% correct. Yes, indeed. All right, I am going to let you guys go. This is one of the front. The front is stronger, and it's also a lot larger. So yeah, there's one of the Carolinas. Kim. Yep, I got you, girl. Yeah, just keep checking back in. And as I've been asking you guys the last couple of days, if you don't mind sharing this feed tonight with your loved ones, the more people we can get in the weather know to keep checking back in to get these updates, the more that we can have people in a safer place if need be, and just to be up to date. That's always a good thing. Linda Crook's in the house. Nadia Lambert. Uh, it should slow down. Yep. There's no such thing as late. You come in, you ask your questions. If you catch the end, you can still go back and watch it and get all those answers to your questions answered. Simple as that. All right, let me end it on the 7-day here. We've been on for almost 30 minutes already. Geez. There's your inland 7-day forecast, 93, 91, 92, 91, 91. Rain chances at 50 to 60% right through Monday. We'll have to watch, obviously, to see what happens in the tropics, to see if we need to put tracking the tropics on the 7-day forecast. There's the coast, 30, 40, 50% chance for showers and storms. Temperatures in the mid to the upper 80s. All right, guys, I'm going to let you do your thing. Remember, new models coming in within the hour. I'll have them tonight at 10 and 11. Remember, they're going to be impacted by the hurricane hunters who flew in there today. So this is going to be some very important information to start looking at tonight. So I'll have that for you at 10 and 11. All right, gang, take care. Yep, hot and rainy. Gisela, summer hanging tough here in Central Florida, as it normally does. All right, guys, see you. Ta-ta.